Alright, hello my fine friends, how are you all doing today? I myself am doing rather well, and pretty happy to see that someone in, a larger sense besides us, because we've already been calling them riots for the longest time, but now the police declare the Seattle protests as riots. Why it didn't happen sooner is, just a facepalm moment. Obviously, uh, they've done so much that could have that properly defined these protests as riots, and only now uh, are they finally really pushing back against it. So 45 people arrested in Seattle protests, and we'll try and see just how CNN spins this to make it seem like it's not as good as it's supposed to be, because of course CNN can't not stoke the fires. Seattle police declare a riot on Saturday night and arrest at least 45 people in demonstrations against police violence and the presence of federal law enforcement in cities like Portland, Oregon. Seattle police said protesters threw large rocks, bottles, fireworks, and other explosives at the officers during demonstrations. Others set fire to a portable trailer and a construction site, police said in a series of tweets. Fires have been a staple of these peaceful protests forever now. It's just absurd. At least 45 people were arrested on charges of assaulting officers, obstruction, and failure to disperse, police said. And that's very good to hear. People are finally seeing the consequences of their actions. Now, whether these people just get set free without anything really happening to them is yet to be seen. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully that they spend a week or two in jail. Maybe some of them get sent to an actual courtroom for the things that they've done. Once again, I'm not too hopeful about all of those things happening, though. Uh, Very much the media portrays these people on the right for whatever reason. 21 officers have been injured from having projectiles thrown at them, according to police. Most officers were able to return to duty, the department's Twitter said. One officer was hospitalized with a leg injury caused by an explosive. And, you know, explosives aren't a pretty way to go or even experience. Luckily, they haven't had weapons grade explosives. It's just been fireworks and things of that nature, but it's still not a very humane thing to do. For the most part, these people don't see the police as humans, and they justify attacking them with explosives like this. The protesters the protest was held in solidarity with demonstrations in Portland, Oregon, where federal law enforcement officers and protesters have violently clashed in a small area near the federal courthouse. In Portland, local and state officials have said the federal officers who wear camouflage fatigues and use tear gas to disperse crowds are exacerbating the protests, which is just really, really, that's your excuse. People come in to put down these riots, and suddenly they're the bad guys. They're the ones making these things worse, even though you've had 50 previous days of this happening. Seattle has been the scene of protests over police brutality and systemic racism, which isn't real, but we keep saying it in the hopes that it will catch on even more so than it already has, including a 6-block area controlled by protesters after police abandoned their precinct. The Capitol Hill Organized Protest, or CHAZ. You guys remember Chaz, right? It was just supposed to be a summer of love until people started dying and uh, people just kept getting beat up and having their, essentially their communist area funded by a capitalist society. The zone known as the Chop was started by demonstrators calling for justice in the death of George Floyd. But the demonstration devolved over time, and after a series of shootings, police cleared the zone on July 1st. As CNN wrote at the time, Chop's failure was a case study in human nature, violence, mental illness, homelessness, and the difficulty in imagining a world without police. We've had plenty of examples of this in the past. It's absolutely insane that they're just like, oh, it was a case study in human nature. Are you serious? This is why we have history. This is why it's such a bad idea to knock down statues and destroy art from previous generations, because you forget so much of what's happened in the past and you don't learn from it. On July 4th, a 24-year-old protester was killed during a demonstration when a man drove his vehicle into a group of protesters, which they were blocking the road. And honestly, it's the stupidest way to die. It's the stupidest way to protest. People are just trying to get home or to work or what have you. I believe this is the one they were talking about where it's late at night. And of course, people are going to get hit by these cars. They're not that easy to stop. And they just continue to think that these things that are happening now, these so-called secret police and things of that nature, weren't going to happen. But of course they were. You're destroying people's lives, you're destroying each other, you're making everyone look bad in this situation, just for trying to put some law and order. And once again, my recommendation to the people who are actually peacefully protesting: stay at home until these people are dealt with. There's no reason for you to be involved at that point. If a riot breaks out, go home. Let the police arrest the proper rioters. But no, you are part of the problem, and that's why you should be arrested as well, because you think that you can just keep pushing and pushing and not get any consequences from this. It's absolutely insane that you don't realize what you're doing. Now, that does it for me for today. It was a shorter article. I don't have too much many new thoughts, just some stuff that I'm reiterating. So before this video gets dragged on for a needless amount of time, probably best that I end it. If you enjoyed this type of content, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Maybe if that's not for you, just hit the like button. That helps out plenty. Leave a comment in the comment section down below on what you think the riots should, how the riots should dissolve from this point forward. Is there any chance that the full power of the law is going to be exercised in this? I know they said 45 people were arrested, but how long are they going to stay being punished? Is it just going to be a slap on the wrist, or are we going to actually see some courtroom sentencing for some of these people? When will that be? How long will it take? And things of that nature. Go ahead and share all those thoughts in the comment section down below. That about does it for me. I thank you all for watching, and I hope that you have a great rest of the day, and take care.